Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise! I hope you guys are ready. It is playoff time.
After all the hours, the weeks, the months, it's finally time. The journey to the grand finals starts now.
I'm going all the way. I'm going, yeah, my blood is rebel. I'm going all the way. I'm going to another level.
This is about to get nasty.
They make it look easy. This guy is an absolute maniac.
Oh, that's carnage! And the rock stars of the Overwatch League continue to crank out power chords.
It's playing week, and there's one simple truth. Win or go home.
I'm going all the way. I'm going, yeah, my blood is rebel.
You got a long road ahead to hold that trophy, to wear that crown, and that journey starts now. So come and get it. It is playoff time, Overwatch fans. We are live in Los Angeles for the 2019 Overwatch League postseason. The stakes are high today as we begin our single elimination play-in tournament. The Chengdu Hunters are the 12th and final team to qualify for the playoffs. This unpredictable squad could boom or bust here in the playoffs, and it's always an exciting match with the Hunters involved. Chengdu will take on one of the other three teams that represent China, the Guangzhou Charge. The Charge are red hot, having won 8 of their last 9 matches, and could be poised for a deep postseason run. Welcome to the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm. Malik here, joined by Zoe, Brent, and Sideshow. Guys, are you as hyped as I am?
Oh my goodness.
Yo, that hype video at the beginning, that really got me going. Yeah, no idea, never seen it.
I mean, I won't lie to you. Me and Zoe, I think we've both been on the classic WoW binge. but just today, that set my mind into place. We are going into playoffs. It's all culminated to this. Teams are going to get eliminated. Yeah. It's madness,
Especially
honestly.
in the play-in tournament, single elimination, everything on the line. You've even got a bit of a pass if you make it to the playoffs. But right now, everything matters.
It is do or die indeed, guys. Well, we are already in postseason form here on Watchpoint. Later today, we'll see if the Philadelphia Fusion are as well. Carpe and EQO will tell us how last year's experience making the grand finals could propel them for a run all the way home to this year's event in Philly. Plus, we spend a lot of time answering questions on this show, but every once in a while, we have to take a moment and ask, but why though? That's coming up later in the show. Here is our single elimination play-in bracket. The 9th-seeded Guangzhou Charge face number 12 Chengdu today, along with the Fusion facing the 11th-seeded Shanghai Dragons. The lowest-ranked team to win today will play London tomorrow, while the other winner will face the Seoul Dynasty. Now, before we get into the matches, there are some huge patch changes taking effect as we begin the postseason. For starters, the cost of global ultimate charge is increased by 12%. So that means all heroes will charge their ultimates more slowly, making less ultimates available in fights, and the importance of being efficient with those ultimates much greater. That's a pretty significant change, and we've also got a new hero in play. The Flex Tank Sigma will be available for you starting with today's matches. Now, Sigma has an experimental barrier, basically a floating shield that he can deploy anywhere. He's also got hyper spears that bounce off walls and implode to deal damage, along with the ability to freeze incoming projectiles to turn them into shields. And let's not forget about his ultimate, the Gravitic Flux. I like to call this the Sith Bomb, where he takes you up and drops you. Sigma, he's a powerful new flex tank, but Bren, what's the biggest effect that you think he could have here in the playoffs?
Okay, so we spoke to a lot of pro players about this, and a lot of them think that we're going to be seeing 100% play time for Sigma.
Really?
They think we're going to be seeing it all the time. And the biggest reason this is because they've added a new hero. The one thing that Sigma has over a lot of other tank heroes right now is he can place a shield, and he can also shoot at the same time. Now, that doesn't sound like a big thing, right? Orisa is the only one that can do it, but when you compare Orisa and Sigma at the same time, you have double the shields, but you also have consistent damage that you're dealing out over time. Reinhardt can't do that. Winston can kind of do that, but it's more of like a bubble shield. But there's no other real heroes. But when you pair those two together, it's very potent. And if you're not running a mirror comp like that, you're going to get out-shielded. Your shields are going to break instantly because you don't have the added damage that Sigma provides.
Now, of course, with all the heroes we have in-game, we do track specific metrics. So let's take a look at what we will be looking at when Sigma is in the game. Of course, we have the obvious ones like hero damage, final blows. But then we go a little further. We have the accretion kills per 10. We also have the gravitic flux, or Did I say it right?
Yeah, you got it.
Perfect.
You got it.
Nailed it.
You
Killed
nailed
it. Yeah, so that will be
I
for
would.
his ult. Sure, now it is. Now, one of the most important ones, of course, will be the ultimates negated, as he does have that ability to actually convert these projectiles into shields. So that's going to be very interesting to see if it's going to work the same way with D.Va. Can he be as reactionary like she is with the Matrix? Very interested to see.
Yeah, I'd be amazed if the Sigmas are eating ults on the regular, like diving in front of them. Get down, Mr. President! Jumping in front, eating the grabs. That'd be incredible to see. I want to focus on Symmetra usage, though, because what you're saying comes true, Brent, and we end up playing a double shield composition with Orisa and Sigma, we've already seen teams start to experiment. We saw Baby Bay actually recently playing the Symmetra, and you charge up your damage so fast when you're playing against a bunch of shields, because you get that charge and the beam does more damage, but also it replenishes your energy when you're shooting shields. So just an outrageous amount of DPS comes out of these damage dealers. You pair that alongside a Mei, alongside a Reaper, a Doomfist, some kind of hero like this, and I think we're looking at a very different meta that plays out somewhat similar to the Mei Reaper compositions we've seen before, but around shield usage.
Ooh, I know lots of Metro mains are going to be really happy to hear you saying
Yeah.
that, Sideshow, indeed. Well, we'll likely get our first glimpse of Sigma when Chengdu takes on Guangzhou today. The Hunters are the 12th and lowest seed in our tournament and would have missed the playoffs if the Valiant had been able to pick up a win last weekend during their homestand. Chengdu finished 13 and 15, but earned huge wins over the Shock, NYXL, London, and Atlanta throughout the season. The Hunters are as unpredictable as it gets, but what do you expect to see from them here in the playoffs, Zoe?
Well, that's a great question. As with the Hunters, always, you know, what are they going to play? In Stage 4, as per usual, they stay true to themselves and just kind of ignore the meta. So here's the League hero usage. This is what we saw mainly being played in Stage 4 from all the teams combined. So yeah, obviously we had an increase in Hanzo. We saw a lot of teams relying on Baptiste. Also, of course, Orisa has been one of the main tanks to use Mei. Huge increase. Still some D.Va in there once in a while. Roadhog also, of course, a big part with that Orisa combined. Now the Hunters, however, they went somewhere else with it, all right? We're not surprised to see a lot of Wrecking Ball being played, given that it is the Hunters. Now, they still had Sombra in the mix, a fair bit. Not as much Hanzo, not as much Widowmaker, despite them actually having good sniper players. So, yeah, let's see if with the Sigma patch they're going to go the same way and just ignore it. Maybe they don't play Sigma.
We don't know what's going to go with the Chengdu Hunters. You flip a coin, you don't know what they're going to run, really. But with all the Symmetra talk that we've been saying, it's actually the Chengdu Hunters who were the first ones to run Symmetra in the league when she wasn't meta.
Wow.
Back in Stage 1, Elsa flexed onto her and really showcased the first time you got to see the potency of how well she can break a lot of these shields. Now, do I think Elsa is going to be playing the Symmetra for them? I want to say no, but I also don't want to make any promises because this is the Chengdu Hunters. And if there was any team to put their off-tank player in a damage-dealing role, they might be the ones to do it here today. But they have been early adopters of a lot of different changes, a lot of different strategies, and I'm not too sure. I mean, we're probably going to see them playing Symmetra, but I think there's a possibility there they might change things up as well.
Yeah, Chengdu Hunters are always the meta breakers, right? They always ignore it. But if you take a step back and think about what Chengdu have done, they got into the 12th place, but they've just been notorious for causing upsets this entire season long because they don't play the meta, but they also have very talented players. And I think one of the reasons why the Chengdu Hunters had this style from the beginning revolves around Eamon. He's the player that started with the Wrecking Ball when nobody else was playing it, and the team had to craft their style around him. He doesn't play Winston. Never has, probably never will. Had to pick up the Reinhardt and the Orisa. He was actually previously known for his Orisa as well, and that looks pretty reasonable. But Chengdu have always played this weird, crafty style where they play wacky is the word that's always associated with them, wacky compositions. And that is really dangerous because now that you're in a single elimination tournament where you have to keep putting results on the board, any team could go up against Chengdu and lose.
I can't think of a worse team to play against in
Yeah.
a single elimination playoff scenario.
Yeah, how do you prepare?
Yeah.
How do you prepare?
How do you
Who
prepare?
knows?
Right,
Who
right.
knows?
Make the meta. Don't let the meta make you. If you're a member of the Chengdu Hunters fan, that's what you live by.
That's
right?
what I say in my comp games, but then everyone reports me, so I don't know.
Dang, that's sad to hear, man. Sad to hear. Well, Chengdu will have their hands full with one of the hottest teams in the league right now. The Guangzhou Charge are playing their best at the right time, finishing 6-1 in Stage 4 and looking dangerous as the 9th seed. But this patch change could shake things up for everyone. So how do you think Guangzhou will fare with this new meta, Brent?
I'm a little bit worried, honestly, because it's strange to say because Guangzhou had a phenomenal stage 4, right? But looking at this team, they've played off the back of Nero and Happy as an individual, as a damage-dealing duo. Nero on the Mei, Happy on the Hanzo, as you're seeing here, and they've really excelled with those kind of compositions. But I feel like we're going to be moving into a meta if it goes to what everyone has been saying with the Orisa, with the Sigma, double shield compositions. There's a lot less room to pop on. Your Hanzo can't be taking angles like this because the Sigma player on the enemy team will just pull back his shield and redirect it into the direction of where the Hanzo's trying to take a flank. You can't really make these outlandish plays anymore that carried a lot of these teams through. I feel like there's a lot less room to pop off now if you're a damage-dealing player, which could be very dangerous right now for the Guangzhou Charge when they've relied so much on that.
Yeah, they rely on Happy a lot to be able to carry them through on those snipers, and Sigma's essentially an anti-Happy character. It just blocks off those sight lines.
It literally happens to me all the time in ranked. I lock in Widowmaker and the Sigma player will just put their shield up in my sight line. It's so annoying. It shuts you down.
It really is. And I think they'll have to transition away from that. And with so many shields in the mix, I want to see them bring out Eileen on the Doomfist, because this has been something that they tried to run a lot on Li Jiang whenever they played it, particularly in those 5th maps. And if you look at how he compares against Jinmu, the player that he would potentially be playing Doomfist against today, I would say that I give the edge to Eileen every single time. It's him and Youngjin as the 2 best Doomfists that we've seen in the whole of 2019 so far. Eileen's mechanics are godlike on this hero. He has the least deaths out of anybody in the league, but these stats are just so impressive considering he plays in clutch scenarios, only comes in for 1 or possibly 2 maps out of 5 that they play the whole time. This could be their pocket pick player that just carries them through this ridiculous playoff run that they have to make, and that would just be glorious to see Nero and Eileen do that for the team.
Now, I do kind of echo the sentiment here on the desk, though, that we are worried about the Charge because they really came to their whatever.
Yeah, came to their own.
Okay.
Yeah,
for sure.
let's go. Gee, it's
go-
rough today.
we're going
They're
with
rough.
one of
Potential.
No, but I feel like they really did well in the stage 4 meta. I feel like for everyone on that team, they found their hero and they played it really well. We do talk about Nero's Mei a lot. We do talk about Happy on those snipers, but we don't really talk about the supports as much. And one of the supports who had a massive impact in every composition so far in this stage has been Baptiste, and Chara has been amongst the top Baptiste in the league. He has been showing incredible efficiency on that amplification matrix, and generally his positioning was really, really good, and he kept that team alive. Now, with Sigma in the patch, we don't know how often we're still going to see Baptiste and how he will be faring, but what we saw so far from Chara in stage 4 has been phenomenal.
It's going to be so interesting to see how Chara and the Charge adapt to this new meta today. Well, guys, all of these playoff teams are taking their first steps on the road they hope leads to Philadelphia for the grand finals, including the Fusion themselves. Carpe and the boys tell us how they plan to get back to the finals on their home turf next on the Watchpoint pre-show.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
What was going through your head last year as you saw London celebrating.
This is going to be rough for Philly. I don't know if they're going to be able to get this done.
They deserve that. That was obviously like a really bad moment for us.
And London Spitfire have done it. They will fly high as your Overwatch League champions.
If we made just 1 or 2 less mistakes as a team, we would have won. We had a chance to win the final, but we couldn't adapt fast enough.
이제 올해는 아쉽게 떨어졌지만 그래도 꼭 그 자리에 내가 있을 수 있게 해야겠다라는 생각을 했어요.
Philly were a second place team in all of season 1. They were at the grand finals.
They haven't really picked up where they left off at the grand finals last year.
They still want to be in the conversation. They still want to be in the picture.
저희는 지금 작년하고 똑같은 포지션이라고 생각하고 지금 이 상황이
It would be funny to me just us recreating the same like last year, you know. A lot of people badmouth us the entire season, and then we get into playoffs and we just make our ride to the grand finals, knocking out like the strongest team.
And there's Pokeball. Felt like we haven't seen one of those in a while. Philadelphia Fusion on the road, on the path to try to make their way back into that grand final in their home city at the Wells Fargo Center.
I think if we can make it this year again, especially because it's gonna be in Philly, probably gonna be really insane.
이제 거기에 필라델피아 팬들이 엄청나게 많을 텐데 그게
Personally, I will be really proud to be in final and to play in front of them, and yeah, I will do my best to achieve that. An experience that's once in a lifetime, you know, being in a grand finals, representing the city you play in.
Fusion, with every map loss, feels further and further away from home.
Obviously, we haven't done that good this season, but we've been already in a playoff run before.
작년에 결승전까지 갔기 때문에 작년 경험이 분명히 도움이 될 거라고 생각해요.
We have to prove everyone that we deserve to be in final. How are we gonna make that come true? I mean, we're just gonna practice a lot. And again, and again. One game at a time.
Philadelphia Fusion again in the moments it matters most. The players making plays.
I think if we beat Shanghai, we go against London.
거기서 다시 한번 복수를 하고 싶어요.
It would be nice to kick them out of the playoffs.
일단 이 그랜드 파이널을 우승한다는 건 저한테 또 다른 엄청난 업적.
Carpe has decided that it is time to go Super Saiyan.
Obviously, there is a lot on the line with each game. The regular season, you can lose a game, you can lose 2 games in a row, doesn't matter. But the playoff, you only have 1 shot. It's either we win or we lose.
그냥 다 이기면 될 것 같아요.
The Fusion relied on Carpe to make their grand finals run last season, and though it doesn't always feel like he's carrying the team the same way this year, his overall stats are still near the top of the entire league in some major categories. Carpe's counterpart, EQO, played a big part in last year's run as well. But can he do it again, Zoe?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, the last stage, we mainly seen EQO on that May, but he's been playing great on this, right? He went from brick jail to the frozen brick jail, which is the May jail. But he's been putting out the numbers. He has been incredible, impactful on that May with his walls and whatnot. He had great ult efficiency, and overall, he has been leading the league in a lot of those major categories. Now, of course, May, not really a carry kind of character per se. Like, you are the one setting the team up, and then everything would rely on Carpet to actually, you know, use that setup from that May and make it worth their while and getting those kills. Now, however, with the Sigma patch coming up, or rather being here right now, we don't know how much May we even gonna see. So maybe he's, you know, released and can outperform again.
Yeah, let's take a look at the heroes actually that were used by the Philadelphia Fusion's DPS duo in Stage 4. You see a huge amount of May from EQO, and Carpe tending towards those heroes that carried them through to that Grand Finals appearance last year, the Widowmaker, the Hanzo. But it hasn't been like 2018 Carpe. It's like he went missing, and he's really not had those same kind of performances. So unless they step up massively in the playoffs, they're not looking great for it. But also, like you were saying, Zoe, are these heroes even going to be viable anymore? I don't really see Double Sniper being something that they can ride to be able to take them to the Grand Finals. So they've got to put a lot more pressure on the tanks now. It comes down to Sado and Poco to ride them to that Grand Finals appearance again.
I'm all for the team Poco putting his team on his back. I'm all for that.
He could carry them.
Yeah, he could definitely do it. Well, Philly is a great story. It's a great story for these playoffs, but perhaps there's no team with a better story than the Shanghai Dragons. Shanghai went 0-40 last season, but 1 year later, they have a stage title under their belts and a shot in these end of the season playoffs. But it's been a rough go for them lately as the Dragons went 1-6 in stage 4. Will they continue to struggle, or could this playoff patch be good for the Shanghai Dragons, Brent?
I mean, it's hard for it not to be better for them, considering their previous performances. They've had it rough, honestly. A big part of this is the fact that they relied so much on Ding as an individual. He's been phenomenal for this team. They've been working around him on a lot of his heroes, in particular his Pharah, but his Pharah just hasn't been cutting it these days. It's his pocket pick, and we're moving into metas where you just can't get the same value anymore. There's too many threats from every different angle. Before, when Shanghai could play the triple damage dealing compositions, there was too much to deal with. Ding could get away with murder. Not anymore, that's changing. And if we're moving into Sigma and Orisa compositions, that's even more threats for him. They're gonna be pulling him, halting him out of the sky, taking him down at every angle.
Yeah. Dragon's definitely going to have to adapt as well. Now, when Shanghai won Stage 3 and then had to change their whole style up for Rollock, they were probably like, but why though? We feel you, Dragons. We're asking the same question about some of our frustrations next on the Watchpoint Pre-Show, presented by State Farm.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Speaking of getting rid of something instantly, there goes Fusions, and now Calyx. And there, he's in the back line. He's got a gun, and he's taking out your pharmacy comp.
The neutral tank war is lost by Boston, and Inlayer gets the flank.
Don't have the time to wait for more. This is their last chance. And Volskaya, they've lost the dualities. Custer, sure for, dead from afar. And the Hanzo has surely sealed the Valiant's fate now.
The Jonak. Nano popped up like that.
Yep. Chengdu though gets 2, gets 3 with the whole hog of 4K, making a near 5K for Chengdu. 6K. Chengdu kills everyone.
That's a nice nano boost onto the whole hog. Healing is such a neat.
Persia. Sorry, it's over for you. Color Hex though able to win out against Flower. Just find a headshot now. Oh, what is this? What am I watching?
Exactly where they're coming in. And you can use whatever you want. There you go.
There's the EMP into Barrage. Wombo combo time. There's 2, 3, 4 for Rascal. Looking for a bit. Nothing but Rascal to kill feed until Architect has to ruin it. But we'll take it. 5 for Rascal.
We have to rationalize a lot of things in life, but sometimes you just gotta stop and ask, but why though? I'm gonna start this one off today. Now, I thought last year we did the esports community a huge favor when we outlawed the dab from here in the Overwatch League. So why are there people leg dabbing? Why is this a thing? I hate it. It is nasty. This needs to stop. This is atrocity right here.
I wholeheartedly agree on this one. Yeah, absolutely not. I got another one for you, Malik. You know, we set up all those beautiful home games and whatnot, and every team outperformed during their home stands.
Yeah.
But why though? Why are we setting up Valiant to play against the Gladiators in the Shock? Like that's just mean. I worked so hard on this event, and then I had to get defeated twice on that stage. Like, where you go from there?
And for the playoff lives too.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's
It
like
proves
everything.
that Owl is not an anime, unfortunately.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got a message though. I got a message for Bren in particular. This is for future Bren. Record this and play it every time I try and make a dumb bet. But why though? Why do you make these dumb bets, Bren? Every single time. Yeah. This splash tag, I've never been so nervous of something in my life. It was freezing cold, and I'm not joking. My leg is infected. I mean, it's just everything.
not nice.
Everything's gone terribly for me. I mean, thankfully you got splashed as well, because it wasn't too bad.
I did notice that you were wearing socks in that as well as you were getting.
Yeah, I didn't want people to take pictures of my feet.
You know who's
Very
not wearing
self-conscious.
socks? You know who's not wearing socks, and I don't know why. Sigma. But why though? But actually, why though? What you doing going in a battle with just those? Oh no! Don't do this.
Free the bunions.
It must be so cold. He's in space.
No.
Zoom in more, please, please.
Some
Why though?
Everyone's going to have their toes covered when the Hunters in charge take the stage in less than 10 minutes to kick off our 2019 Overwatch League postseason. Our predictions are next on the Watchpoint Pre-Show presented by State Farm.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Here are the analyst predictions for day one of our single elimination play-in tournament. The gang is all taking Guangzhou over Chengdu, but Sideshow is on his own, thinking Philly's hopes of playing in the grand finals on their home turf end tonight. Back up your pick against Brendan in a 30-second face-off. Go.
So even though the Shanghai Dragons went 1-6 in stage 4, I think this new meta will actually favor them a bit more. I have a bit more faith in the ability for them to sub in Youngjin on the Doomfist and play that kind of more Symmetra style. I don't think Philly are going to be great at that.
Okay, but they're up against Philly. Everything to play for right now in the playoffs right now. They want to go to the grand finals. They want to go to the grand finals in front of the home crowd. They want to prove they got what it takes. Last time they come second. Second's not good enough at this point. Right now, we know Philly are a team that heats up during the playoff scenarios.
They did
Perfect
it
opportunity
once.
to do it against a struggling Shanghai. They struggled. They're struggling now.
Well, both teams are struggling. Neither team's going to make the grand finals, I think.
Well, people will be struggling if they don't put their shoes on. Don't be like Sigma, everybody. That does it for the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm. Enjoy the matches.